Evening. We are back with episode 16 of Reality in the Raw, uncut, unfiltered, and unhinged. We haven't been here in a little bit, so we just want to invite all of you on there to remember to call in, send your email to um, on Instagram or Facebook, and if you need to call in, ask questions, you may do so. Again, you're on Reality in the Raw, and I'm your host, Ed Lloyd Sr. Before I start, we always tell you what our mission is. We want to let you know how excited we are again to be here. Remember, our mission is to invite and to encourage healthy discourse about relationships and other life issues in an effort to inform, to educate, and to find practical solutions to help people navigate through difficult circumstances. Though the topics may be often controversial and thought provoking, our intention is to create an environment of love, of understanding, forgiveness, and restoration to those who would listen and engage. This is not a platform for embarrassment, for airing out personal differences, for lambasting people you dislike or hate, or for defaming the character of any individual. In this regard, I will entertain no rudeness, no ugliness, no toxicity, no bitterness, no vitriol, no disrespect to myself or to anyone else. So let's keep this platform clean, jovial, energetic, peaceful, with lots of fun, so we can all get something positive from it. We want to welcome you to episode 16 of Reality in the Raw, uncut, unfiltered, and unhinged. The last few episodes, we dealt with the cycle of poverty or as a generational curse, the cycle of generational poverty in our community. And I dealt on the last episode number 15, with I gave a list of things we can do to reverse that cycle, and also give you reasons why we not only are in the cycle or we remain in the cycle. The last few weeks, I've been really concerned. I've been counseling people, and a lot of people want to give up. A lot of people want to quit. I looked at the statistics, and the divorce rate, both in the church and outside the church, is increasing. Most people just look at the divorce rate and they express some concern. But the divorce rate means that people are quitting relationships. And people are quitting relationships because they are unhappy with their relationships. And of course, what do? They blame the other party, the other spouse. I just looked down Facebook or one of the social media platforms and noticed the number of people who are unfriending people, walking away from relationships. And many people are wowed by that. But there's a reason for that. And the fact is that people are quitting relationships, not only marriages, but relationships. Then I look down Facebook and listen to people, and they're walking away from their families. They're quitting. They're unhappy, dissatisfied. Then I look at church. People are walking away from churches. Everybody has a reason. But the fact is that they're quitting. They're dissatisfied and unhappy with something. Then reading statistics and dealing with for the last week a group of professionals. We noticed that some statistics say that 80%, 80% of people are unhappy and dissatisfied with their jobs. About little less than 50, well, 52% of people are considering changing jobs, careers, and jobs. And about 44% are considering quitting their jobs. Why? They're unhappy and dissatisfied. Then I've been teaching on the generational cycles of poverty. And I notice people are unhappy with their financial status. And they're dissatisfied. They're unhappy with that. Then I'm looking at statistics and seeing the number of pastors who quit because of stress. They're unhappy. And there's a general feeling of unhappiness that people carry around. Mean you talk to people, they're just angry. And we say they're angry for no reason. When I counsel couples, they're just angry at each other, pointing fingers, blaming each other. I do leadership seminars sometimes at workplaces and institutions. And people are angry, leaders are angry. Everybody's just angry, upset, mad, dissatisfied, disappointed. I'm asking myself, what's going on? Why does it seem like so many people are angry and dissatisfied with the circumstances? And of course, we always blame something else instead of taking personal responsibility. We're always looking to blame somebody else when we ourselves need fixing. One of the things I pastor a church, and one of the things anybody knows about, I'm going to hit the nail straight on the head. I'm not particularly very religious, but I'm practical. And I think the issue is that we need change. Of course, we all start out well. I mean, the reason, let's go down the line. The reason we get married is because we fall in love. And we have high hopes of a happy, loving relationship. My question is, if we start well, something happens down the line that makes us unhappy and want to quit. One of the questions I have is, when we get into new environments, get a new job, a new relationship, new friends, go to a new church, start a new school, the beginning is happy. So my question is it that the process made us unhappy, or did we take our already unhappy selves and plant it in a new situation? Got happy for a minute, and when the novelty died out, we begin to be ourselves again. But the fact is, we all start out well. We form relationships, and we all have high hopes. Are we going to be friends for life? And I talked about we join churches, And the beginning always seems exciting and happy and, filled with so much potential for a good ending. Then we have jobs. We say, the Lord gave me this job. Or we have hope that we're going to succeed. But something happens down the line for that level of unhappiness and dissatisfaction to be so prevalent in all facets of society, whether it be church, school, work, home. What's going on? One of the things is for me, a whole lot of people, when they first come around me or even come to our church, there's a lot of hope because we actually help people to accomplish their dreams. I can tell you right now the number of people, not even before I started church, that I've helped accomplish their dreams. I've had people who were failing out of school, people who couldn't graduate out of high school, who struggled to get the GED, and I pushed them to be doctors, lawyers, get the PhD. I've done that for years. So the work that I do in church is no different. But people come with high hopes, high expectations, because we seek change, even if in our finances. I want to kind of do this session off of the fact that we all want our finances to be better. We all want our lives to be better. And we have high hopes when life or God brings us opportunities to make that happen. But I think one of the things is that, I'll be practical, we desire change. Everybody wants change for the better, but hardly anybody wants to change. There's a difference between wanting change and understanding to get that change, you have to change. I talk about MD at church and some of the musicians. A whole lot of the people, I talk about my daughter who couldn't sing when we started, couldn't really sing. And they had high expectations. But the first thing I told them is, in order for you to succeed in your endeavors and goals, you have to change. And the more intense the change, the bigger the change is, the more you have to change. And I think one of the things is that we don't like to change, because change requires us to sacrifice and forego some things that we've grown used to. And I've been in the arena of change for years. Remember one church in particular that was, the church was failing. And so I don't know where the leadership, all the pastors heard about me, and he asked me if I could come and talk to the leadership about change. And so when I got to it was night's conference. When I got to the conference, I guess, I started to talk about change and how they could save the church, but how the leaders needed to change. And then some of them were upset. And it ended up that they had to cut out some of the people who just did not want to change. You cannot get sustainable change without you changing. I was talking about my MD and some of the musicians. I mean, it took hard work, being pressed upon. I had to get tough, because it's not easy to change old habits. Old habits die hard. We want our financial situation to change. I've been dealing in our church, teaching finance and budgeting class. And I just assess the people. I've been teaching for years. And I can see who gets happy about the information, but they wouldn't do anything to change. If you want to change, something in your daily life has to change. Some habit, some pattern has to drastically change if you are actually going to change something. If you're going to change your finances, some of your spending habits got to change. The way you save, the way you think about finances, the way you think about the source and use of funds, it's got to change. And it's got to change for real if you want real change. And I get in trouble because I don't just want to talk about change. I want to see people implement the stuff that I teach. And I want to see that the implementation of that stuff cause real sustainable change. And I'm so happy because the way some people react, I would have been discouraged by now, but I have there are too many testimonies, too many testimonials, too many people have changed using the strategies that I have taught for me to quit because of those who don't want to change. And so we're going to talk today about my ABCs of change. And I label it my ABCs of change because if you look at general philosophy, they have what their ABCs are. And they're not wrong. But I want to talk about my ABCs of change. If you're going to change your circumstance, if you're going to change your financial situation, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge you got a problem. Now, it's just crazy to me that folk who want change would not admit they have a problem. You see it all over the world. And you see it in church. The pastor will call an altar call for people who want to change. And they know they want to change. They know they need to change. But they will not make the first step, which is an acknowledgement that I've got a problem and I need to change. It's called admitting you have a problem. We all have problems. There are areas in all of our lives where we need change, where we're not perfect. I remember when I can talk about my son and daughter too. There was one point in their life they wouldn't ask anybody for anything. They wouldn't ask. Well, they had to ask somebody. I don't know who they were asking. But kids grow up and the kid wants you to think teenagers. The kid wants you to think they were doing everything right. They're implementing what you taught them. But I know they're broke. They come in looking hungry. I know they have these little bills. They have, these little subscriptions. They have phones. They have iPhones. I know you got a subscription. My son is a teenager and he walks in with all this NFL gear. Come on, man. You're playing football in high school. You're a teenager. You got the best football gear. It's new. Nike. Come on, man. Where you got all that money? But but you know how kids want you to think they're above, so they're not going to ask you for nothing. I mean, a teenager, bills are racking up. I know they're racking up. But they're coming in. You need anything? No, Daddy, I'm good. Kenny, you need anything? No, Daddy, I'm good. Come on. They wouldn't admit. And that is in our teenage years, early teenage years, we begin the process of trying to hide stuff to seem perfect. And that's the first challenge to change, trying to seem perfect. One of the guys I sometimes listen to, let me see if I can go to Lord Have Mercy. What did they do to my oh God, oh Lord, I got it. Thank God. I go to my Facebook. Dave Ramsey says something. He says, few things make people go broke as quickly as trying to appear rich. Act your wage. Few things make people as unhappy as trying to act like everything is okay. We all got problems. Why are you trying to act like you don't have none? And that is a problem. That's to me, that's a generational curse. That there is a curse. The first step to change is acknowledging that you have a problem. We all got problems. We cannot all help ourselves in every area. The minute you begin to act like you don't have a problem, then nobody's going to help you. The minute you cannot open, you have too much pride or whatever you have, so much pride that you cannot open your mouth and say, hey, I got a problem. Hey, I need this. Hey, my finances are bad. Hey, I cannot manage my finances. Hey, I'm failing school. I'm failing at life. When you can't do that, you have closed off any help for yourself. And that's the first level and first step to change, acknowledging that you got a problem. Because if you don't have a problem, then everybody else got a problem. Man, I was living and my finances were bad. And like I told you, some people wouldn't even tell their spouses how bad things are. They kick it up. Yeah, baby, I got it. If you got it, why the lights off though? Yeah, baby, I got it. Then why there's a 3-day notice on your door? Yeah, baby, I got it. So why you 2 months late on the car note? Hey, baby, don't worry about it. I got it. So why the refrigerator empty? I mean, simple admission. We all have problems. The first step to change, the first step to success is to admit and acknowledge that you're not perfect, that you got a problem, that you made a mistake, that you messed up, that you sinned. That's what we teach in church. We teach it in church, and church folk can't admit they got a problem. But we want sinners to come and say they got problems. The church folk can't say, I got a problem. But the church folk want the sinners to come and admit when they can't. Well, why don't you be the example? We all have problems. I had a problem with my finances. I used to tell my wife, hey, I got it, baby. But every month, she said, every month I knew on a certain date, because I got the bills, that lights were going to be off, and you do whatever you can. By the time I get home from work, the lights came back on. And for months that was going on, and I would not just sit down and say, hey, let's fix these finances. Pride. Pride will wreck a relationship. Pride will wreck, an opportunity. Pride will prevent us from the blessings of God, from the favor of God. Pride will prevent us from accepting favor. Pride will prevent us from being kind to people, being loving. Pride. And it comes before destruction. Simple acknowledgement, I got a problem. And the one thing about me, you can look at me blue in the face and I tell you, you got a problem, because we all got problems. You can't fool me. You can't fool nobody. It shows. And the issue is that the problem is that it shows more than you would ever know. Because your life will tell on yourself. Acknowledging that we got a problem. You know, I was sitting, I teach a budget and finance class at the church, and I'm in the class is full. And the first time I said, if anybody's having a problem with the finances, put up your hand. And only few people put up their hand. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. First of all, why would you be in the class if you didn't have a problem? If you go to church, then you believe that you're imperfect and God is gonna help you. Why act like you ain't got a problem? If you're married, opportunities do not come without problems. Let me just tell you, opportunities do not come with problems. When opportunities come, it comes with a bag full of problems. The problem is that the problems are encased in a nice glittery container, and we get attracted to the container, but there's problems in there. Somebody asked a question: what becomes the issue for those who can't admit they have a problem or they're struggling, but still hides things? No, well, if you hide it, you have not admitted it. Miss Princess, admission here is not the internal acknowledgement. It's an admission that calls for help, an evaluation that makes you know that I have problems and I want to do better. So we all have the ability, you're right, we all have the ability to admit we have a problem and we're struggling. But most of us still hide because somehow we want to appear like we ain't got problems. If you appear like you don't have a problem, then nobody's going to want to help you. Why help somebody who doesn't have a problem? If you're carrying the load, then why should I help? Man, let me tell you something. We're struggling. As a community, we're struggling. And one of the things that people don't understand is to leaders who are revolutionary and transformational, when you try to hide a problem or act like everything is okay, it is easier to see what your problem is and to see that you have so many problems you're trying to hide. Man, let me tell you something. We all have problems. Come on now. We all do. We're struggling in life. And we get angry because somehow we have expectations that things are going to get better. And when these expectations are not met, then we get disappointed. My question is this: yes, we got a problem. Yes, we have goals and aspirations and hopes. And we have expectations that it's going to get better. But is there a plan? Do you have a strategic plan to make sure that thing gets better? And part of your strategic plan is that you need information. You need a mentor, a coach, or somebody to move you from point A, where you've been for years, to point B. But if you don't want to admit and be humble enough to allow somebody to help you, you're going to be stuck with unreasonable expectations because you're not going to have success. Right now, I'm dealing with people who I want to do this and I want to do that, but they don't want to change their behavior. They don't want to change their sleeping habits. They don't want to change what they do daily. And so they have these high expectations that's based on nothing but foolishness. So people get angry and dissatisfied. And can I tell you something? You can sit down expecting things to change. My experience is this: as long as you do nothing about it, nothing is going to change. And you need somebody to help you. If you've been in a rut for a while and you're still in that rut after years, your methods are not working. Stop the pride and let somebody else help you. I mean, let me tell you something. I taught my kids that when they were 7, man. Come on, man. Why you think your teacher or your parents send you to school? Because they know you can't read a book at home and learn by yourself. You need a coach, you need a guide. So the first thing is to acknowledge that you have a problem and not try to hide it. Acknowledge it. You got to tell yourself, I got problems. My money's funny, change strange, broke like a joke, and I need help. Another question comes from Princess. What ways do you become better in allowing others to see we struggle so that they may help? But what a question, Lord. Let me hold on a minute, please. Let me understand that question for myself. In what ways can you become better? Oh, let me tell you something. Funny enough, God will put you in a position where somebody can help you. God will always guard life. Take it how you want it. Some of my friends say Mother Earth. Ain't no Mother Earth, man. This is Earth. At any rate, God will always put you in a position where you can be helped, and always put people around you. Whether you respect them, you trust them, you connect with them, that's up to you. But God will always make sure that He puts you in a position where you have the opportunity to change, to be better, to be successful, and to be prosperous. The issue is that He puts you in a position where you will need to change. Because we keep crying and praying, Lord, I want my situation to be better. Then He creates the opportunity. Sometimes we just not content. Sometimes we don't like people. We don't like nothing. Sometimes we so bitter and angry on the inside that we will not acknowledge and accept and embrace the opportunity God put in front of us. Acknowledge you have a problem, because we know you have one. So it's best you just acknowledge it so we can get to the next step. Y'all know the next step, right? Believe. I've been in church for a minute, man. And people tell you, if you believe, anything can happen. Man, I need to tell you something about that belief. Because in the same Bible, it tells you even the devils believe and they tremble. They believe so much they tremble. It means that just believing something is not going to change you. When the Bible talks about belief, it's talking about a belief system. When it talks about belief, it's talking about a belief system. A system of belief. So the fact is not whether you believe or not. I know you believe. Everybody believes something. The issue is not whether you believe or not. And I want you to listen to me. The issue is whether you are willing to change your belief system to accommodate the change you desire with constant and consistent infusion of new updated information. If you stay thinking the way you always thought, Just believing is not going to change a thing. If you have the same, if you keep on feeling the same way about things like you always felt when you got into your situation, then just believing is not going to help you. Your entire belief system needs to change to accommodate the change you want. And that has to happen with the consistent infusion of new updated information. The information you have didn't help you. It's old, it's updated, it's dry, it's dead. For you who are religious, the Bible puts it this way in Romans 12:2. It says, be not conformed to the old way of thinking, but be transformed, constantly transformed. It's a process by renewing your mind. Some people will sit there, new information coming into them, and they just sit there, and the old information, let me tell you how stupid people are. You would give people new information to change that has changed, proof that are proved to change you and others. And they will check your new information with the old information they have. The old dead information that never helped them, that have them sad, angry, upset, discouraged, distraught. Ain't that stupid? For me, I'm just practical. If I see something help somebody, I want to know what it is. And it may take me abandoning the foolishness that never helped me first. People, my goodness gracious, I don't understand. The problem is it's not just believing, not just whether you believe or not. People say, I believe in Jesus Christ. And if you believe in Jesus Christ, are you willing to change your belief system? And I'll talk about that in a minute. To accommodate the change you desire. I teach people about finances, but they don't believe what I say. In other words, you don't trust what I say. So you're not going to implement it. But yet, there are people implementing it, testifying that they went from having zero money at the end of the month to having over $1,000 at the end of every month. They tell you, and you still wouldn't trust the information. You trust the old information that got you broke. You trust the same information that got you sad and angry and depressed. And the new information is coming to other people, and you're seeing them happy, prosperous, successful. But some people, they have the attitude to just push back against anything. First, I used to have a guy at the church, and every time I preach, he's got to go to the Bible and check. So one time I asked him, I say, why are you doing that, man? He said, well, in Acts, it says that the Bereans were more noble than those believers in Thessalonica. So they searched the scriptures to see if those things were so. And I told him, let me tell you, man to man, that's stupid. That's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Let me tell you what it is. I sit in the classroom, and I already know some calculus. When the teacher is teaching, I sit down and listen to what the teacher has to say. In order for you to check information, you have to receive the information first. I'm an educator. It is stupid for information coming into you and you're trying to check it against some stuff. You cannot change what you haven't received. If you want change for $100, I got to receive your $100 first before I give you change. You cannot adjust something you have not accepted. Same thing when people say that I'm a leader, so I'm going to challenge the status quo. That is stupid. You got to know the status quo and be successful at the status quo before you change it. So I told him, I say, you know what? Let me tell you something, man. If I were you, I say I'm controversial, but I received the information first. What the Bereans did when they preached to them, they received the information happily. Receive happily. Then they went home and they checked the information, not to argue against it or to push back against it, because that's a negative mindset. That's how I know it don't work. Right now, the guy is drinking, smoking, going crazy because he never received it. Because the attitude, that attitude of negativity and pushback and rejection, that's a heart issue, man. Receive the information, then go home and you do it for comparison's sake or to sharpen up on what you read, man. So, belief. Let me just talk a little bit about that because I have a little time now. Most experts agree that it is impossible for a behavior to occur without thinking first, without a preceding thought. It is impossible for a behavior to occur without a preceding thought. I used to teach my karate students, before you make a fist with your hand, it's made in the mind. Nothing happens, no behavior happens without a preceding thought. Even the behaviors that people say that happen without thinking, that people believe happen without thinking, even those require a preceding thought, even though you're unaware of the thought. Therefore, in order to change behavior, the preceding thought must be changed. That's why we preach. That's why I'm sitting teaching. Because I'm trying to infuse you with knowledge, with new information, with information that you haven't considered or heard in a while, or put in a different way, so that your thought patterns will change in order to have long-term success. It sounds simple. Unfortunately, it ain't that simple. You walked into a church, into a school, into an environment and thought, man, I'm going to change. And after years, you're still the same and you're worse, because it's not that simple. It takes work. So no behavior occurs without the preceding thought. But hidden behind thinking is something we call a belief system. Behind your thinking is a belief system. And your belief system is what makes you think the way you think. So I could do something quite innocently. And if in your belief system you have negativity, you will perceive what I teach as negative. I could do a completely kind act. But if in your belief system, you've had experiences where people have used you, taken advantage of you, manipulated you, then I could do a completely kind, genuine, authentic act. But because in your experience, people have manipulated you, you are going to think about my pure action as manipulation, as the other things I said, manipulation, as distrustful, because hidden behind thinking is called a belief system. And essentially, a belief system is a collection of ideas, of memories, really, that we have amassed throughout life concerning the nature of our world. Hence, we get in trouble because it's a collection of memories. So I want you to think of the belief system as all the information that you might use from your memory and experience to make a decision as to what to do in any given situation. Your belief system. Some people will believe in Christ and believe. Let me give you an example. We have the saying, "You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you." We say that all the time. How many people believe it? Because the first time we encounter trials or trouble or person who is difficult, we go back to that very visceral response. So the first time we encounter an obstacle, we go back to the very visceral response, which is the collection of ideas and experiences and memories where we failed. And our thought and behavior is, I don't think I can do this. So behind thinking is a belief system. And your belief system is the governing system that dictates whatever subsequent behavior that is ultimately chosen by a person. I know some people, I could be loving to them all, like right now I'm dealing with folk who they have seen that I don't punish people. I'm just straightforward. But anytime I can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people right now. No, 7. Okay, good. 7 people in my church, in our church, who mess up, they mess up, and I just love them at no consequences. Yet the next time they mess up, they still think I'm going to punish them. That doesn't come from what they see from me. That comes from a belief system, an experience in their childhood that every time they did something wrong, they were punished. And so no matter how much you can show them I love you, the visceral response is, when I mess up, I quit because I know you're going to punish me. So through my actions with them, they kind of believe, he's loving, he's not going. But the belief system, which is the collection of ideas, memories, experiences, if that doesn't change, then your thinking will never change, because you can always think that one day he's going to cut me. One day he's going to punish me. One day he's going to quit on me. One day he's walk. And that's what we're dealing with. That's why people don't have trust for anything, because in their belief system, they've been disappointed. In the belief system, they've been let down. And they're like, man, I thought you were going to let me. Huh? That's not what I do. But you can't get past a person's belief system. I talk to my son all the time, and I say, you can help students all you want to, but the belief system, if it doesn't change, your help is not going to mean much in the long term. So, acknowledgement. But that belief system, that's why it's so hard for people to believe. Bible says, and I hear people quote it a lot. I don't quote that a lot. If you say to this mountain, be thou removed, and you believe in your heart and doubt not, it will be removed. Let me tell you something. My question is, you tell me, how are you going to change your belief system to the point where you believe if you tell a mountain move, it's going to move? It ain't easy to change that belief system. It's easy for you to say you believe it and quote it. But do you really believe that when you speak, things will happen? Then we start to understand why the foolishness we talk every day. Or I believe this and I believe that and I believe that. It's just all talk. Because in order to change your belief system, you have to do away with, abandon, get rid of all the thoughts, the experiences, the feelings of them, all the things you thought that were true. That to accept something that's new, that's actually working, but it's not easy. The significant, I think I'm about to close. The significance of identifying the components of one belief system is this. If your core belief about something doesn't change, we're not talking about the jargon we use in church, man, or the everyday jargon. If your core belief about something, people will tell you you're beautiful. They'll tell you you got nice eyes, a nice smile, nice teeth. You look good, you're attractive, and they'll make you feel good. And you might believe it at the moment because you were wearing something nice. But if your core belief about something doesn't change, when you're laying down at night by yourself and you feel real ugly and nothing's working out, and everything you try fails, everything you've tried fails, you still got to believe that everything works together for good. The core belief system, if that does not change, then by definition of the relationship between beliefs and behaviors, the desired permanent behavioral change will not happen either. If the core belief doesn't change, if your core belief is that nobody will really treat you right, nobody will really accept you, nobody really likes you, if that core belief doesn't change, no matter how nice we treat you, no matter how well and loving somebody is to you, your actions will not change. It'll change at the moment, but permanent behavioral change, it will never happen. Many attempts at making change happen are aimed directly at changing behavior. And therein lies the fatal flaw in many of the psychological techniques. I use changing behavior as a motivation for change, not as a solution for change. Let me say that again. I use changing behavior as a motivation and inspiration for change, so that as you see the behavior change and as I can force you into different patterns, then you will begin to believe that I can do this. But the target is always your thoughts and your belief system. I don't use changing of the behavior as a target for permanent and long-term change. I use it as a motivation. Very philosophical, and I'm very strategic. Because when you see your cycle start to change, you'll be motivated and you'll start to believe you can. But it's the core beliefs that I'm after. Because if these things don't change, no matter how loving a person is to you, you will still never trust them. Because your core belief system says, my experience is, don't trust people. And you'll find reasons to corroborate your belief, like Christians do, like religious people do. We have a belief and we find reasons to corroborate our belief. Let me tell you something, man. Changing that core belief system, you have to have a mind that's transformed. And in order to transform the mind, you not only have to keep putting new updated information, but you have to embrace it and receive it. And to do that, you have to abandon the foolishness, get over the the past, get over your past history, your experiences, and understand that God has given you a new opportunity. Or else you're going to go from McDonald's to Chick-fil-A with the same attitude. And then, I was mentoring this girl, one of our church members, and she would go from job to job with the same, it was always about the job. But same complaints now. It's just different. So one day I sat down and I said, you know what? If you want to move up, You gotta stop this. What had happened is she had been in a cycle of failure, cycle of inconsistencies that gave her the same bad experiences in every job. And so this one, I worked hard years on trying to infuse new information into her, change her belief system. And I've done that for a lot of people. And I just saw things start to change because the core belief system changes. In other words, it no longer depends on the memory for current information. It depends on something else, something new, something updated, something inspirational, something motivational. And that is why I enforce and I try to enforce change in behavior. Again, what I'm targeting is not the behavior. The change in behavior is just motivational and inspirational to the person so that they can see that it's possible to change. And that'll change the belief system. So they can say, oh man, okay, I did it this time. Man, I did it again. Oh, so I start believing, oh, I can do it. So it changes now because I never thought I could do it. But now I'm engaged. That's why you need somebody to push you. You need a coach to push you. You're not going to do it by yourself if you never believe. So I push you. And when you see the cycles, then I let you go a little bit so you can see you doing it by yourself. It's like a child walking. And all of a sudden, you get motivated and you say, I can do this. When you're by yourself, you say, I can do it. Then your belief system is a cycle of belief starts to change. And that is when things begin. When the belief system change, then the thoughts change. And next time we're on here, I'll give you the C to change. First one, you got to acknowledge you got a problem. I mean, going around, you're mad at everybody, you're angry. That's how people are. Everywhere I go. You got to acknowledge you have a problem. Second, you got to change your belief system. Your dad and your mom was rough to you. Everybody ain't your mom and your dad. You got into a relationship too early, and then you sold yourself short. Somebody molested you. Every dude and every girl ain't your first boyfriend. Ain't the person. So you need new information. Sometimes God puts you in the presence of other people who are not going to abuse you. They just want to bless you. But if you have that same belief system, you are going to be suspicious. That's crazy. You're going to be suspicious of well-meaning, loving people. And every action, you're going to see it through your belief system. And your thought is that, I don't trust that because somebody's trying to hurt me. If your belief system don't change, nothing else will change. Because your thoughts are founded upon your belief system. It's the lens in which you see. If I put on orange glasses, all of a sudden, all the white walls are orange. Everything is seen through an orange lens. You got to change that lens, and that lens is your belief system. When that changes, then your thoughts will change. Otherwise, you're going to stay the same and get worse. Hey, you're on Reality in the Raw, uncut, unfiltered, and unhinged. I'm your host, Ed Lloyd Sr. I hope I could bring some information to you, and I hope it helped you, man, because it helped me. I give you the information because it helped me. And because it helped me, I've seen it help others. I've used it to help others. And because it has helped others, I can bring it to you. You can take it. It'll change your life, though. That acknowledge is for simple things and for big things. It'll change your life. First, you got to know you're not perfect and you got problems. Acknowledge them, accept them, embrace them, and then it goes to your belief system. That's where your thought process comes in. Because that mind, that's where you win or lose your battles. Till we see you again, I believe in 2 weeks. Let me set a date right now. Today's the 13th. So we're going to try to meet on the 27th. We'll see you again on the 27th at about 7:15 for Reality in the Raw, Uncut, Unfiltered, and Unhinged. I'm your host, Ed Lloyd, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got something from the show. If you have any questions, just hit us up, DM us, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we bring it real and we bring it raw. Thank you. Till then, see you soon.